here, Palmetto Bay. Welcome. And I guess the big question, did I say Ed Silva? All right.
It doesn't matter, Michael.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So now, Ed, now what?
Well, Michael, I'm back here because I owed it to you, and you guys, the community newspaper was very, very fair to me throughout the whole campaign, and I really greatly appreciate it. Now we need to get and coalesce and get behind our council, and our residents have spoken, and we have a new council. And we hope that they can resolve the issues that our village faces, and we need to become one Palmetto Bay.
And lots of people think, oh no, you should still be against them. No, we want everybody to succeed. Because that is for the bigger picture, which is, how do we get along and how do we make this move forward? And so congratulations to Leanne Tullum.
There you go.
Did I get it right?
You got it right.
Okay. And when does she get sworn in?
I believe Monday.
Okay. And Steve Cody on Monday also?
On Monday as well.
And so, by the way, I think this is the first time in the history of the Village of Palmetto Bay, there's a majority of women there, 3 out of 5, all right? And so my hat's off to the women's movement. And Ed, that's just, as you know, that's the way things work, all right? How everybody out was campaigning and presenting their positions, all right? And I agree with you 100%. We want the city to succeed, all right? And the people on the other side that don't want it to, that's wrong, all right? And I even saw that Al John Farquharson sent a congratulations to Leanne, even though that he had supported you. One of the things I've learned about you is that you're very calm and you're deliberate and you're confident and you're a positive person. So my hat's off to you. And in spite of all the attacks that were going on, my experiences with you was as a gentleman's gentleman. So my hat's off.
Well, I appreciate that, and I do. And congratulations to Leanne. They had a great campaign, great ground game, and we were going up against the establishment, really, frankly. And I'm proud of some of the things we did. I'm proud of my supporters. I'm proud of everybody that's reached out to me in the last couple of days. But yeah, we need to get behind this council, and the issues are still there. They didn't go away.
Yes.
And that we need to make sure that this council stays true to their form. And I am sure and I am positive that everybody loves this village, and they need to make sure that we make it the best possible place we can for all of us. I mean, I live there. I'm not going away.
Yes. And we like it when people get up and speak their piece, all right? And recently, the city decided to change a live event they were having. They said they're going to do a virtual congratulations because the people spoke up. And that's what this is about. Listen to the voters. What are they looking for? And then how do we put that together? You have a new city manager. He's working, right?
Yes, he's been working there, I guess, now for a week or two, maybe.
Yes. So my good luck to him, and we hope good things happen. So now that if you hear something that's we're building an additional studio, that's a saw and a hammer in the background.
Isn't that the studio for my show that I'm going to be? No, I'm joking, people. There's no show coming. I'm here because you asked me to please come out here, and that's why I'm here. I'm joking about a show. God, that's not me.
Well, you'd be surprised about things that can happen. By the way, Brett Romberg, former NFL player, University of Miami All-Stars, is going to be doing a regular show out of our facility here in beautiful South Miami. So now that the vaccine is not just on the rise, it's going to be here within a couple of weeks, we're going to know people that have gotten that. We need to look forward, all right? And as Rabbi Yossi Harlick says to me, Michael, what 2020 do you live in? The one from March to now, or are you looking from today, whenever today is, forward? So let's look forward for you.
Wow, looking forward to me. I'm going to stay engaged and in my village, because I love that village, and that's a place that I've grown my roots at, and I'm firmly entrenched in staying there. I've met some incredible people along the way. I've strengthened some ties with some in the community that I'm hopeful that that won't go away, because that's been the most rewarding thing, is some of the people that I've met along the way. For myself, it's private practice. I've been very successful in getting a lot of my clients back, and I'm just looking forward to being a private citizen
Private citizen
that's going to be paying attention to our village and advocating for what's right and what's wrong. Those issues are still there, Michael, and they're
Yes.
not going away. But I do think that if we all get behind our council and I mean, that's the one thing that I'm going to take away from our campaign. Some of the things we brought up got changed, and that was just the power of speaking. So, what I would ask for all our residents is to stay engaged.
So let's talk about how running for public office is your first time, right?
That's my
Even though you've worked in the public arena as an employee of several, many places, all right? So tell us about the growth that you've had since the day you decided to run and signing and making your the paperwork and running for office. How have you
Well,
felt
you know,
about it,
it's
and how's it made your life better? Right? Because I know that it has.
yeah, it has. It's interesting. I would have never ever imagined a year ago, 2 years ago, that I would ever have done a run for public office. For those that do it, bless you. It's not an easy road. Um, you really need to have thick skin because you're going to get attacked, and a lot of the attacks are not based on facts or truths, and you just need to understand how to take it. Now, how I've grown is I have become even more sure of what's right and what's wrong for our village. I've grown in actually having grown closer to a lot of our residents, and really see the good in a lot of the village. There's a lot of good in our village, and that's something to be celebrated.
Ed, when you made the decision you wanted to run, was there did your heart rate go up? Were you a little concerned? Were you afraid? But at some point you crossed the line. Tell us about that moment where you made that decision.
Michael, that was actually looking for someone to run. There was a lot of discontent. A lot of people were telling me that they were unhappy. A lot of people were complaining about some of the things that were ongoing. And I had a lot of conversations with a lot of people in the village who would want to run, and everybody didn't want to. They did not want to go through the negativity. So then what was left was for me to make a decision as to whether I would step forward or not. And I did. And I don't regret that I did. It's been a great experience. I've learned an incredible amount.
Was it freeing to be able to say to yourself, I'm going to go do that? All right. Was there this openness and confidence about yourself, and did it send a message to your inner Ed?
It did. You know what? It's interesting. Wow, we're getting into a conversation I didn't think we would be morphing into. There's a lot of there's a lot of people that run that they lose their first time, and and I had over 5,200 votes the first time around, which is a substantial amount of support. Not the second time around. That was all about turnout. And again, my candidate, hats off to her, she had a great ground game. But yes, my confidence grew as we went along, and I think you've seen it in the shows that my confidence has grown. As a manager and as administration, you're always guarded because you do not want to stray too far away from the policy.
Right.
So you're very, very guarded in how you say things and how you approach things. That took me a little while to realize that I'm now free to say what I want to, how I want to, and not have to worry about any repercussions from the policymakers. So that in itself has given me a lot of confidence.
There are plenty of people say, when asked, you're going to run? No. But you know what? When you do run, all right, whether it's for a homeowners association or for public office, all of a sudden, hey, he's running for office. If you will, for the average people that are here, right, they admire people that stick their head out, because we know at best, all right, at best, half the people can't stand you, and they really love the other person, all right, at best, all right, and that's wherever that is. We see the fights, at the PTA, all right. Yes, yes. I used to be the president of the lawyers because we spoke our mind. Right. And I might add that our father, grandson, my father, was the president of the Unitarian Universalist Church on right off of Sunset. He's one of the few presidents that he got. What happened to him? He got recalled.
Oh,
all right, so
wow.
Grant, all right, you're next, buddy. It happened to two out of the
worst. That was my recall.
So I think that we as people admire folks that stick their head out. I think it's a big deal, to be able to do that. And so I know that I can see your confidence has risen, but you stay true to you. And that's the part that we like. And I'm a fan of most of Mike Tyson's experiences, most, not all. And I watch his fights all the time. So often at the end of a round, he would look back at the person as they were walking and he'd stare at them. But you know what? In most of the fights at the end, he would help pick them up and get them off the ground. All right? That is common. So now we look, Mike Tyson's 54. So I spent whatever dollars it was to watch that fight. It was an exhibition fight. And to listen to him say, we're trying to help people. Yes, he said he made money from it. But there he was, this vicious, the most feared fighter in the country. And yes, he did go to prison because he did some bad stuff. But you know what? So here it is now that he's this much more gracious person. But you could see it in each of those fights. So he could stare at somebody at the end of a round, right? Like, I'm going to get you. And then when he got it, he picked them up. So what are some of the things that you think that the people, now that you're no longer a candidate, all right, so be careful what you say, folks, all right? What do you think some of the things are that people want now that the election is over and things are going to be calm for at least 2 years, all right? The people that just got in, there's 2 people that just got in. Those are 4-year terms. You have the mayor has 2 years left. Patrick has 2 years, and Marcia Madsen.
That's correct.
That's the cycle.
That's the cycle, correct.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you think the council needs to address now that the COVID it's not over, but we can see the end of it?
Well, my campaign was based on the issues. All the issues that I brought up during my campaign, they're all still sitting out there. Kudos to our former village attorney who won a round against Luxcom in the courts, but that's a huge issue we're facing in the village. That's a $21 million plus litigation against us that's going to come to a head very shortly. We have issues with the budget. We have issues with the rezoning at the Palmetto Bay Village Center. We have environmental issues that we need to be looking at. There's a lot of issues, if you take away the fluff, that really do need to be looked at. And I'm going to be interested in seeing how they do it. But we also have other issues as well. We have a new county commissioner is going to be appointed.
Yes.
That's something that our residents need to stay engaged on and opine and look at. Congratulations to, well, and I haven't said this, so let me back off for a second. Congratulations to my opponent, Leanne Tellum. I hope she makes a good vice mayor for the village. Now, I also want to say congratulations to Keone McGee, who won in Dennis Moss's old seat.
What a scrapper, man. That guy's got quite a story, man. And I had first met him here, all right? When I heard his story, he's strong, he's assertive, all right? He believes in himself, and he has a coalition that is very strong.
He does. I'm honored to call him a friend, and I know that he's actually going to be looking at the whole transportation corridor up and down US 1 again. That's one of the things that he's going to be wanting to look at, and I think that's a big step in the right direction that we all need to pay attention to.
And I'm glad you brought up the county. George Abreu, who used to work for the Farm Bureau, then the Youth Fair, now works for him in charge of, he's the head of the agricultural part of that. George, congratulations to you, and Keone, a very good choice. We have a new school board member. I think is that Santos?
Yes, it is.
Louisa Santos. Mm-hmm. Young, attractive, bright, articulate. And when I was saying something she didn't like, boy, she spoke right up. My hat's off to her because of that. So we have lots of new people, lots of new ideas, all right, that are going on. The traffic issue, transportation issue, some people think, well, it's just this one thing or there's 2 things or 3 things. No, it's a whole project, all right? We have a building here. It's a pretty good sized building, and we painted it. It's sort of a gray, all right? Now we're getting ready to, if you will, to put the pillows on the couch. You can't just look at one part of it and say, we're going to put a sign over here, or we're going to put a sign up. They have to look at the whole package. And as we look through Palmetto Bay and we look at all the transportation issues, and as we brought up the other day, there's so much people that are moving down south that need to move through there. It's going to take some brilliant minds to be able to figure out two things. One, how to fix it. Two, how to get the citizens to understand it, right? So I hope that the citizens and the village has a good representative on those. What is that? Is there a division, some committees in Palmetto Bay that sort of addresses a little bit more than others?
Well, any of the transportation things will come out of the Public Services Department, but I actually think, and I'm hopeful that they really start gearing up those manager-mayor South Day Coalition meetings again.
That's
And if they can do that and really focus on that, because quite frankly, all the other internal issues of Palmetto Bay pale in significance to the US 1 transit way discussion. That's really the number one key that could really help alleviate a lot of the issues in Palmetto Bay.
And then Cutler Bay, Susie Lord, I think that's her name. I think she was just reelected or elected the other night. So there's stable governments in both areas. So now is the time to really put that back together, because everybody's going to be living with each other. And so we wish the village and all those people and whoever's angry out there, whatever, just be cool. All right. It's all going to be okay. All right. And just like Mike Tyson, when he was in the battle, all right, he did everything, including biting off Yvonne Hogan's ear, all right, short of some of those outbursts, all right?
And I see that he challenged him, by the way, to another fight.
Is that right? The other night?
Yeah.
My wife said, "How much was that?" I said, "Shh." By the way, you get it on YouTube. You got to love the guy. But even so, he fought viciously when the fight was on. Afterwards, all right, he put down the stuff and said, "Okay, now let's go on together." So I hope that the city, the village, and the surrounding areas work towards that.
Oh, and that's the way it should be. And you know, we went through the battle. The battle's done. The residents have spoken, and you move on.
And before David Singer was elected 4 years ago, we would communicate a little bit. So I've learned to really like David, and he's calmed down a bunch. All right, not a lot, but a bunch. All right. And so, David, I hope you calm down. Hope you stay involved if that's what you choose to do. But he does have a show. It's a pair of boxing gloves.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
that's a good title.
Yes. So that should be very interesting to see what happens. Okay. So here you are.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but when David ran the first time, his number one thing on his platform was, the day that I'm elected, I will fire Ed Silva as the manager.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So he ran before the.
Yeah.
You mean he ran 4 years ago?
4 years
and
ago,
won.
And won. And his number one thing would be that he would get rid of me as the manager.
And what happened?
He understood. He finally saw how it, when you bring back those curtains and you really look at how government works, that's when you really understand.
David, open your eyes.
Yeah.
Like.
No, but a lot of people don't understand
Yes.
that, and that's you kind of see what's being fed to you, but not the whole picture. And David saw it, and it changed. We grew to respect one another, and it's ironic because even during my campaign now, they kept trying to peg us as a Singer and Silva show, and I laughed at every time because I keep remembering what happened 4 years ago, and I'm saying, boy, people really have short memories.
Yes. So some of the big issues seem to be the Franjo Road area with all the apartments and the house and the cars. And I hope that that works out. I know that Lexcom, lost its first step, but I'm sure it's going to go on for a while. At the end of the day, most lawsuits are settled, right? And by the way, we have sued over the years Knight Ridder. That was the Miami Herald back when. We sued Cox Newspaper. That was the Miami News. We've sued the Sun Sentinel, Miami-Dade County, Broward County, right? And in our office sat the publisher of the Herald, Dick Capon, said to me, "Your grandchildren will never see the money." Right? I can assure you of that. And so we're practical as people here. Nobody wants to drag whatever it is out, and people want to feel in the okay range about what happens. So now you're a private citizen. You're a better person because of it, all right? And your family is there for you, and I think.
Oh, they're ecstatic right now.
What?
They're extremely happy right now.
I'm sure. Thank God, Dad did this. Right? So, in my eyes, and in the eyes of thousands of people, the step you took to run for public office is a gigantic step, and my hat's off to you for doing that. And what I wish you would have won, all right? But you're a better person today than you were just a few months ago for taking that chance, right, to do that.
And to me, it was all about the process. So honestly, to me, this was all about the process and about trying to get the issues out there to have a discussion. I'm seeing one of the comments here from one of your residents.
Look at that over there.
And frankly, that's exactly why I was running, because we need to have these conversations about how we're going to resolve our transportation issues. And we have the power. You as a resident have the power to bring these things up. Because if you look at my campaign, we got police restored, we got park security, we changed a market from what it was going to be and the location where it's going to be to somewhere else. And I wish, and I know you publicly said it the other day, I wish your brother well with his market. Here, I'll give you another little tidbit. When I was young and trying to make money to go out in high school, I used to sell carpet remnants, and my parents had a carpet store at the Apalaka flea market.
Is that right?
Yeah, which is your brother ran it. So there's a lot of history here.
By the way, the farmers market is Saturday, 8:30 to whatever. Okay.
So, and I wish him well with that. We need to stay engaged as residents. We need to ensure that this council responds to us, because they're there because of us. And we need to ensure that they do that, because they're there. They're supposed to be there to represent us. And I actually think we're going to have county commissioners that will actually really respond to us. We have a unique opportunity right now with all these new freshman commissioners.
Yes.
To really make a change. That's maybe the one thing that I regret the most about not being able to pull this off, because I think I know that I'm very friendly with a lot of these people, and we would have been able to get some good things done. However, it was about the process. I grew. I'm glad I got the issues out there, and I'm okay with the results of the results. That's the residents.
And I thank you for saying that. Let's say Madeline. Hello, Madeline. Thanks for checking in. George Gonzalez, Maud, Kelly Willis, and let's see. Oh, Susan Miller wrote in over here. That's my wife. All right. We got a family thing going on. All right. And somebody says, Lisa Myers, Dahlia Torres. Let's see. Carol Vega. Sorry, Carol. She thanks you for running. Orlando Cartagena. Madeline Roman. Hey there. Let's see. A whole bunch of other people. So I hope that you stay engaged, all right? And as time goes on, you'll look at it a little differently, but you should be proud what you did. And I challenge people out there that are thinking about, maybe I should run for office. Just run for office, all right? All right? And see what it's like to go meet literally thousands of people, all right? And in the future, it'll be a whole lot easier to communicate with people instead of just doing it digitally, and listen to people, and you see what people want, all right? And then you balance that all out. And if you're lucky, 50.1% of the people are going to vote for you, all right? And I hope that this council does a good job and be successful for everybody. We're going to wrap up. Tom Barbarado says hello. Oh, he says, Ed, you and David need to stay involved and let the residents know what's what with the twisted truth. And
we all need to stay involved, yes. And we all need to participate in our government. That is the only way where we're really going to be able to enact change and get some of these things done.
One of the things that came up on this show quite frequently is we want government to be more transparent. I just got a notice that the county wants to have less zoning hearing notifications. All right, they're going to vote on December 8th. So I wrote back, it's about transparency. If ever before, the people want more, government to be more open, all right? And we want to know what's going on. We don't want to be surprised, all right? It's hard enough anyway. And hey, listen, county, don't cut back, all right? Be more open, distribute those notifications more and in a better way, because people want to know what to do. If you're looking to save some money, call me and I'll try to figure out how to help you with that, if that's what it's about.
Now, transparency is key. Without transparency, our residents don't know what's going on. And, you know, one of the sad truths in politics these days is there's a lot of misinformation that's put out there, and there's a lot of labels and tags that are placed on people, and it's very hard to fight.
Yes.
And that's because we do not have our residents informed, and they have to be informed. Zoning is exactly something that you know, that's something that I didn't read about. I've actually tried to stay off of all media sites for the last couple of days, but zoning is something that should absolutely, it's the opposite. It should actually.
And in Palmetto Bay specifically, you should let everybody know as often as possible what's going on. So there's none of this, I didn't know. All right. There's so many different ways to communicate with people. All right. And you guys know exactly what to do if you want people to know. And if you don't want them to know, you know exactly what to do. And if you think just by putting it on the website is enough, no, you need to deliver the message to them. So it's, you know, it's like calling them or texting them or emailing them or having different ways to communicate with people. It's really essential.
Michael, as you know, even with that sidewalk project on 136th Street, yeah, that was on the website. I'm sure it was on the website, but that should, you know, it's as simple as having an employee go on every one of those doors and put a flyer or a notice on their door. That way, everybody would have been in the know and would have understood what's coming on. There are people on some streets near 136th Street, which is another issue that's coming up, which is that they don't want a sidewalk in front of their houses, but they don't know how to fight that or how to engage. And those are the type of things that transparency helps. And that is how you respond to your residents and understand exactly what your residents want. And that's what good government should be. And I'm hopeful that this group will get there. And if if they don't get there in 2 years, there's a lot of these residents that can come and they can do the same decision I did and make a choice to run then.
We're going to wrap up in 2 minutes. So besides thanking your supporters and people that actually did support you as well, why don't you talk to somebody that's out there that's on the edge, right? Whether they're 18 years old or 20, that's thinking about getting involved in community affairs and being more public. Why don't you talk to them about that? Which camera is he on? Right over there.
Oh, absolutely. If you are thinking about getting involved, you absolutely should get involved. You should first start looking at task force or committee groups so that you can understand what's going on. You can reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to talk to you as well and show you. I honestly do believe that there is a place for all our residents to get engaged. And if you're young, you're actually the type of person that should try to be getting on one of these councils because you're here for the long term. I'm specifically thinking of one young man that our village attorney labeled as a lobbyist that has left them with a very bad impression of what government should be. That shouldn't happen. We should not be penalizing our young. We should actually be encouraging them to get involved in the process. And it's an enlightening process. You're never going to satisfy everybody. But as long as you stay true to who your principles, and as long as you stay true to who you are, at the end of the day, you feel like you've been rewarded by giving back to your community, and that's what it's all about.
Right. Ed Silva, former candidate for vice mayor of what is it, Village of Palmetto Bay? I'm going to get it right one day. And now private citizen. Listen, we're going to wrap up here. We want to thank our studio audience over there. So thanks very much, Tommy, for producing the show. Folks, stay involved. All right. Get involved and speak up. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, my supporters.
Yep.